Good morning, students. Welcome in today's online class of wind erosion. So, wind erosion is one of the important topic of soil and water conservation engineering. So, in this, you have already learnt about the water erosion, where you have understood that transportation of soil particles, or you say transportation of soil particle by the action of water, that was the water erosion. And now in this case we are going to study the wind erosion. So wind erosion is the detachment and transportation of soil particle by the force of moving wind. And wind erosion could be created by mismanagement of land resources like intensive farming, overgrazing, and deforestation, or some other factors. So, in this case, what happened after deforestation, or you can say intensive farming, the land are left barren without any protective cover, and due to uh, no protection over on the earth's surface, what will happen? The sun and due to climate or high temperature, the moisture has gone. The moisture will gone from the soil surface, and slowly it will become dry, and when it will become dry, the chances of wind erosion become high. So due to temperature and such kind of practices, also it also destroy the cohesiveness property of the soil. So if you'll see, there are three mechanics involved into the wind erosion. First one is initiation of movement. Initiation of movement means detachment of soil particle from the surface. Just a minute. See, these are the soil particle which are moving. Okay, these dots. So it's a detachment of particle. In initiation of movement, it's a detachment from soil surface. And then transportation. Due to action of wind or due to force of air, when such detached particle are moving ahead, they are comes under transportation. And when wind velocity is, for example, if wind velocity is lesser or obstructed by some barrier, if wind velocity is going like this and it is obstructed by some barrier, or its speed is you can say becoming little slow, so what will happen, that whatever soil particle it is carrying, it will drop somewhere here. Okay, so this here deposition starts. So this is how these three movements are involved in wind erosion: initiation of movement, transportation of soil, and deposition of soil. So in detail we'll discuss here. Initiation of movement created due to, or you can say detachment of soil particle is created due to turbulence and high velocity of the air. And when you know that complete field condition or soil condition are not uniform, so for detachment of different soil particle, there is different velocity is required, variable velocity is required. So wind speed at which particle movement is initiated is called threshold velocity. As I told you, it could not be uniform, so there are various velocities. For say in same field, one particle may be removed or one particle may be detached from different threshold velocity, whereas another particle will remove it different threshold velocity. So a complete field condition may destroy or uh, may get affected by wind erosion due to variable velocity. So there are range of velocities. You can say there are threshold velocity, variety of threshold velocity for a particular field, and apart from these velocity, the wind erosion also affected by the surface type, whether surface is rough, crop uh, crop is there on field or not, how much moisture condition is available, whether that moisture condition is able to hold the soil particle or not. That is adhesive property and cohesive property of the soil. Now coming to the next phenomena, that is transportation. So you see here in the diagram, particularly as you know, the transportation of soil particle depends on the size of particle and wind velocity. So when wind is moving uniform here, okay, and now if some particle comes in between the wind, so what will happen? You see here, some turbulence is created very near to that object, or you can say that object may be rock, maybe any vegetation, or may any kind of things. So that rocks intercept or you can say reduce the velocity, but the upper wind are moving at their pace, but at this particular point, at this object, turbulence is created because it is obstructing the flow of wind, and due to this turbulence, soil particle here are supposed to lift, okay, and that quantity of soil moved varies as per the cube of excess wind velocity above the constant threshold. So any kind of object, either symmetrical object like here, or some projected object like this, and here you can see wind is moving here, and when it is obstructing, this turbulence is creating, and due to this turbulence, soil particle or detached particle are lift into the velocity, and it is moving ahead with the wind. Now deposition, after initiation of movement, transportation of movement, deposition occur where gravitational force is higher than the wind forces, or you can say when wind forces become weaker, the gravitational force attract the soil particle which is flowing along with the wind, and it will drop at a particular point. So that particular point will known as deposition. And not only the gravitational force, apart from, or you can say along with the gravitational force, there are few other parameters, there are few other things which can reduce the wind velocity. Say if some vegetation is coming, some fields are well protected by the plants, so when, or any physical barrier is there, so when wind is flowing through the physical barrier or just striking the physical barrier, its velocity will reduce, and once its velocity will reduce, its capacity to hold the soil particle will reduce, and automatically the soil particle will drop down from the flowing wind and it will deposit somewhere. Now if we want just clarify all those particles, there are few kind of particles which are moving along with the air or wind. So if we'll see which kind of particles, so obviously there may be a few particles which may be in larger in size, few particles may be in lesser size, or few particle very fine or very fine particle, or you can say very minute particles are there into the wind. So this slide categorize all the particles in three categories, that is creep, saltation and suspension. So creep is that particle, or creep is considering those particles which are moved over the surface, which are moving on the surface due to action of wind. Say these big particles are detached by the force of wind. Now due to force of wind, this particle will roll down here, and here like that. Similarly different particles are also detached from different places of the field, and it is moving like this. These are different particles which is moving, but it is not lifting, it is just dragging onto the field. So it's called creeping. Now, when such particles, there is a possibility that not necessary that every time large particle will detach. There is a possibility few particle lesser in size will detach. So they will move. But due to effect of wind, due to velocity of wind, there is a chance that these particles may jump and then drop, and then again force of wind will come and then again jump and drop. So this movement is involving jumping of few minutes. Sometimes it may lift, it will go at certain distance, then due to uh, velo- uh, velocity potential it will drop, and then again it will lift and don't go ahead. Okay, so such kind of phenomena comes under saltation. There is also a chance of movement of particle by striking. Say if such particles are moving and this particle is striking to this and it is going ahead. So this is also comes under saltation. Now there is a possibility, another possibility is there. These particles may hit each other and become two parts like this. Or when such particles are jumped after striking onto the ground, there is a possibility it may become two part or two particles. So due to this friction, a fine particle is removed, a fine soil particle is removed. So that fine particle is not sufficient or not heavier enough to be on the ground surface. Okay, so what will happen, this lighter particle will move into will flow with the air or wind, and it will be in suspension mode. So that called in suspension. So if you'll see individually, surface creep, consider the soil particle of size 0.5 to 1 mm, little bit higher size. Okay, and soil particle to roll along the soil surface until the wind slow, they stopped by other particles, or you can say like a physical barrier, or trapped in furrow or vegetative area. So these particles are small enough to be moved by the wind, but too, you can say heavier enough to lift by the air. That is surface creep. So here you can see this big size, the bigger one is under surface creep or creeping. Now saltation, when the wind lifts larger particle off the ground from the short distance, it means these are the smaller particle, these, it is jumping from the wind is striking here, and due to this strike some larger particles, some medium particle, or some here minute particle will detach. So one particle will move through the surface, that comes under creep. Few particles will jump over, that will comes under saltation, and few particles will be in suspension mode, so that will be in suspension. So in case of suspension, the particle size are ranging from 0.1 to 0.5 mm. Okay, and comparatively it will cover the more distance than the creep, surface creep, whereas it is covering distance very lesser than the suspended particle. Now suspension, very fine particle which is having the particle size less than 0.1 mm, and due to wind velocity or due to force of air, it will be in suspension mode. Okay, and that suspension A particle which is suspension may create due to impact of saltation, or wind may erode the fine particle. Now there are few factors which is affecting the wind erosion. So the major factor are climate. Climate includes the humidity, temperature, rainfall, and other soil parameters or other climatic parameter which is affecting the soil parameter, like moisture content, crop residue, stubbles available onto the ground. So these are such factor. The presence of these factors affecting the amount of wind erosion. So for example, if rainfall is continuous and in high rainfall area, soil moisture tends to be higher. So there is in such cases very less amount of wind erosion takes place, or there is a very less chances of wind erosion. Similarly, in low rainfall area or area where precipitation is low, rainfall is low, so particularly at the time of rainfall or few months after rainfall, when moisture content of the soil within the limit, wind erosion will be limited. But in case of dry month, when rainfall season is gone, and then high temperature creates the high temperature removes the moisture content of the soil, and that particular type at that particular time the soil moisture will be less. And if soil moisture is less, that means binding property of soil will be less or will be weaker, and that moment when wind flow, it has more susceptibility or propensity to detach soil particle, and it turns into wind erosion. Further, if you see evapotranspiration rate exceeds more than 2000 mm in dry area, or you can say in dry month. Similarly, conservation practices. If conservation practices are adopted into particular field, so there will be a less chance of wind erosion, because conservational practices are acting as a physical barrier against the wind erosion. As well as if we'll talk about the wind speed, so beyond these 6 meter per second, there is a very high chances of erosion due to wind. Such kind of wind speed may create swirling movement, gusts, and you can say eddy, so that the lifting of soil particle is become easier. Now another important, I talked about the soil parameter. So if we'll see the type of structure, if we'll see the type of texture of the soil. So in case of loamy sand, where loamy sand soils are available into the field, so the loamy sand are available, the particle size available in 10 to 100 microns, and very fine. These are the very fine particles, and such fine particles are could be easily eroded by the wind. Similarly, if we talk about the clay soil has one good property for the wind erosion, that is stickiness. At some moisture content, or it is best, or you can say better structured. Clay soil is better structured. So due to moisture or due to water present into the clay soil, it is showing more resistance against the wind erosion. So it is better for the field where clay soil is available. Now coming to the porous sand and gravel sand or gravel soil. So in porous sand or gravel soil, there is one point that this particular soil may be available with larger particle size. So when particle size is heavier, So there would be a less effect of wind erosion, because particles are not able to lift by the wind forces. At very high extreme cases, when wind is flowing at very high speed, then only such particles will move or will under creep or particle suspension, saltation you can say. Now it has been found that the most susceptible soil particle size is about 18 micron, which is much more susceptible for the wind erosion. Now if soil conditions are rough, tillage practices are there onto the field, so tillage practices loses the soil due to wind, due to velocity of wind. The fine particles or pulverized soil may have chance to lift, and it will go along with the wind. So in case of field where tillage operation has already been done, so that particular field would be more susceptible for the wind erosion. And then moisture content we have already discussed. If we increase soil moisture, it increase the cohesive and adhesive property of soil and stubbles, so there is a less chance of erosion. Now erosion could be of two type basically. One is abrasion, another one is deflation. So abrasion includes the airborne particle. If you'll see, these are the wind flowing, and this particular wind is not only the air alone, it has some airborne particle or suspended particle. When such a suspended particle is striking to some physical barrier, or you can say just consider this is a rock, and when such airborne particle is striking onto the surface of rock, gradually after some time, after some year, there is a chance that such rock may get eroded like this. You can observe the face of rock, and as time passes, this particular area would be eroded. So abrasion includes the kind of erosion which is done by the airborne particle, whereas deflation includes the movement of fine particle. Say for instance, you can see your field is covered by the fine soil over the top, and then beneath of this some larger particle are there. So when wind flow from direction, what it will do, it will erode the topsoil first. It will move the fine particle from the top, and then when top layer is moved, then few particles in between these larger particles are kept. So then continuous wind movement will displace such kind of fine particle too. Okay, now field is available with only larger particle, and this wind is not able to move such kind of heavier particles. So this is the deflation where wind velocity moves the soil particle and the affected area will be like this, whereas abrasion includes the erosion by the movement of airborne particle, and area will get eroded. So these are the two difference in two kinds of wind erosion. So till now you have studied about the wind erosion, and now you are aware that wind erosion take place in desert area most of the time. So when wind erosion creates the soil erosion, or you can say it's moving sand particularly in desert area. So it is creating some kind of structures called dunes. So dunes are large mass of wind blown sand. It is the most common in desert area, particularly in Sahara and Registan, particularly in Rajasthan and India. Okay, so these are the big structures which is created by the uh, wind. So if directly if we'll look into the sand dune, so sand dune is a mount or hill or ridge of sand formed by wind, usually along the beach or in desert area. Dunes form when blow sand into sheltered area behind the obstacle, and it particularly grow gradually as grains of sand accumulate at particular area or at particular place. And if you'll see the dunes, every dune has windward side and slip face. So for example, and particularly most of the sand dunes are recognized by the its shape, and different kind of shape are formed based on the strength of wind velocity. Okay, and different kind of shape I will show into the next slide. So what are different kinds of sand dunes? They could be transverse, longitudinal, star shaped, Barkan shaped, or parabolic shaped. So these are the few types of structure or types of dunes which you can see in this slide. Okay, now see, all kind of dunes are differing in their shape. So if we'll see the first one, Barkan dunes, here you can see the wind direction. Wait, this is the wind direction. This is the wind direction. So now when wind is blowing from a area of desert, it is creating such kind of a structure. This where one part is convex and another part is concave. So convex side is side along with the wind, and convex concave side is up in the direction of opposite of wind blow. So basically when such kind of dunes are created, they are known as Barkan, and gradually its height of this particular Barkan dune is increases, and due to velocity, you see these horn type of shape here and here. These are the horn of Barkan dunes. Similarly, if you'll see the linear dunes, they are simply generated because due to two directional wind, or you can understood one wind is coming from this side, one corner. So and they both mix and go in straight. So due to such, some linear dunes are being created. Similarly, when wind velocity or strength of wind is in variable condition, so the sand initially form such kind of transverse shape, or you can say it's a across the direction of wind. It is forming across the direction of wind, whereas parabolic shape, particular parabolic dunes are specifically in coastal area where tides, or you can say high wind flow is coming from this direction, from sea direction, and it is creating such kind of structure. This particular parabolic structures and parabolic dunes and Barkan dunes are similar in shape or looks like similar, but basic difference in that the Barkan dune has convex shape along the direction, whereas here it is in opposite direction. See, okay. So these are the basic difference in Barkan and parabolic. Otherwise, they looks like same. only the direction is the difference. And now star dunes. Star dunes are formed due to multi-directional wind, and due to this number of when winds are coming from different direction, so sand are being removed from the bottom, and all these things are, or you can say the center is becoming high and other slip phases are becoming down or concave side. So that time of the such kind of a structure known as star dunes. So individually I will see what is this. Barken dune, yes, it's just like a half moon shape, and you can I already informed you that any kind of dune have two specific parameter or specific uh, shape, that is windward side and slip face. So you can see this is the slip face, this is slip face of Barken dune, and this particular angle is generally varying 30 to 34 degree. This one, sorry, yeah, this one you can see here. Okay, this is slip shape, this is concave side, this is convex side, and wind is flowing from this direction, and these two, this length is becoming longer, and when wind is coming like this, it is going here. So these two are called as a horn. Okay, now physical structure, or you can say the specification of Barken dune, are generally 9 to 30 meter high, and it may have width of nearly 350 to 370 meter wide. Now parabolic, similar to Barken, but direction of wind is from this side, from particularly it is formed particularly in coastal area, and when wind is striking to the sand or to the field of surface of the coastal area, it creates such kind of shape, and in this particular, this convex side is slip shape, and this one is windward side from here. Okay, so these dunes are formed from blowout dunes where the erosion of vegetative land leads to U-shaped depression. And yes, here it is written, the Barken and parabolic dunes look similar, but the main difference in the direction of wind in relation to the top of the crescent shape. Now star dune. Star dune is due to multi-directional wind. So just a minute. Yes. See, one wind is from this direction, other one is this. So it's a kind of pyramidal sand mound with number of slip faces. They tends to accumulate in area where multi-directional winds resumes, and slowly its center is becoming high, reaching at height, and this particular center from the bottom may go up to 400 to 500 meters. Okay, so this is the it's a star dune created by the multi-directional wind. Now similarly, you can see transverse dune due to strong wind in linear direction. This at such particular point, if wind become weaker, so sand deposit will take place, and then further, so this is how slowly sand dunes is created here. Now longitudinal along the wind, but partially similar winds of lesser intensity than the main wind. For example, if this center one is the wind velocity of higher magnitude, and it's joining the, it is two other winds are joining at this particular place, and then it is moving. So what happened? Due to this, longitudinal dunes are created. So to minimize such kind of effect, or to minimize the wind erosion, there are three measures to control the wind erosion. So they are the three measures. One is vegetative measures, tillage measures, and mechanical measures. Where vegetative measures could be categorized in two ways: temporary and permanent. Similarly, in tillage, primary and secondary tillage operation, or crop residue could be used, or kind of different kind of tillage like strip cropping and mulching and all those things. Similarly, mechanical measures are the measures where we can put a, or we can grow a series of plants, row of plants, so that will come under windbreak and shelter belts. Now similarly, under those conditions only, I'm very brief, I'm just explaining you. In vegetative measures, you can grow vegetations, you can have field crop on the land surface, don't do tillage operation, avoid overgrazing of the animal, so that soil may not be available in loosened form, and that particular time your wind velocity or wind erosion may be reduced. Similarly, some other kind of method like ridge tillage or strip tillage could be utilized, where a strip of land could be cultivated and rest of the field left undisturbed. So this is the few methods where you can apply your situation, and you can do the practices. You can reduce the wind erosion. Now another method are windbreaks and shelter bed. Yes, I am starting another slide. Just wait. So windbreak and shelter beds are the linear planting of single or multiple rows of trees or shrubs established for wind erosion control. They protect crop, shelter livestock, and provide wildlife habitat. So what is this actually? I have another slide. I am just explaining you. Wait. So for controlling and reducing the impact of wind erosion, shelter belts are effective ways. So here you can see shelter belt is a line of tree or shrubs planted to protect area, specifically a field which is available with crop. Okay, so in this particular diagram you can observe, see, if wind is coming from this direction, high wind, okay, so this is your field. Now you have established such kind of shelter here, shelter belt, series of plants, series of trees, or series of a row of shrubs, so that when wind is coming from this direction, or high magnitude of that wind is particularly very high, so what will happen, this particular trees will absorb the impact of wind, and it will also reduce the wind velocity, and it will allow the lesser velocity or lesser wind into your field or cropped area. So your soil erosion will be reduced, your field crop may not be disturbed, and some other applications are. Similarly, the best effective way is to protect your crop or your plot your field from two direction. This is the best method, right angle. You have to establish series of plant. You have to grow a row of plants in both the direction. That is at right angle. So that could save the field from wind erosion, from soil erosion, from your disturb. It is not able to disturb your crop. So here is the practical example. You can observe. See this one. This is the physical barrier, or you can say shelter bed created by the someone. So when wind is coming, this is the direction of wind. When wind is coming from behind of this shrubs or behind of this you can say barrier, so it will from this whole vegetation only velocity will wind will flow but at lesser speed, and that is not going to affect your field crop or orchard or whatever you have. So this is how the shelter bed and windbreak plays the role. So here two words are coming. One is windbreak and shelter bed. So you have to understand the basic difference between two, otherwise both are similar, both are same. Windbreaks are the structure which breaks the wind flow and reduce the wind speed, while shelter bed are the row of trees or shrubs planted for protection of crop against the wind. Okay, and this is the one kind of most effective method for wind erosion. Both the methods are effective for reducing of impact of wind erosion, as well as it can control the wind erosion. Now you can see the another view, how to protect the field or how to protect your surface from the wind erosion. Here, see, this is your field area. Now here you can guess. Let's assume this is your field area. Now dominant wind is coming from this direction, and this is here is a series of or row of plantation. And what is the specialty of such plantation? See, minutely observe, such kind of plants are available with shorter height. Compared to this one is little longer or bigger, and then after this is also bigger. So when wind will flow, it will pass from this, it will go up and then go up, and when the rest amount of wind velocity will flow, slow amount of velocity will go through from this, but the higher amount of velocity which is coming, it will go over the field. Okay, so whatever wind is coming from the land, this plantation will reduce the velocity and allow the permissible rate into your field, whereas wind which is coming from over the height of this particular tree will go straight out from your field. See, this is the wind flow, you can understood. Now small tree, little bigger, and then little higher, and this is your protected area. So if wind will flow, it will cross over the field, and whatever wind is coming through this, it will have safer velocity. Okay, so this is how you can establish the windbreak and shelter bed. See here, shrubs, small tree, large tree, and here is your protected area. Okay, so this is the windbreak and shelter bed. These are the few applications you can observe. These are the shelter beds, windbreaks here, and this is your cultivated area. Okay, now here this one is your barriers, physical barriers or windbreak or shelters, and here is your cropped area. Just assume if it, in absence of this, what will happen with your field? If they are not available and high wind velocity will come, so that the velocity at surface is very high, it's a phenomena, so your crop may not be here. So due to growing of such windbreak and shelter break, you can save your field, and this is the one effective method of wind erosion. So this was all about the wind erosion and its control measures. Now I understood from the feedback that students are seeking for the assignment. So these are the few assignments under which you have to study, and such questions may be answered in your assignments. So what you have to write, you have to answer these questions: how to control wind erosion, describe the common tillage practices for wind erosion control, what is the windbreak and shelter break belts, what is the sand dune and its soil type, and how can the sand dunes could be stabilized. So these are the few questions you should complete in under the assignment. Okay, so this is all about your final class of wind erosion, and if you have any doubts and questions, you may ask through voice call or WhatsApp. You can also mail me. So okay, so if you have any doubt, you may ask. Otherwise, thank you. Have a good day.